big fan of doodling in a sketchbook. It's something you can do to relax and unwind, but it also just takes a few minutes of your day. Doodling I always think as quick or small drawings that you can do very quickly without a reference. However, even with doodles, it's helpful to have a theme or a reference as a starting point, and then let the creativity and the pen flow across the page. So today I would like to show you 5 of my favourite things to doodle. Those favourite things that I return to time and time again when I'm in a cafe, on a Zoom call, listening to a podcast, or even just watching TV. All you need is a pen and a piece of paper or a sketchbook. Simple sketches, simple doodles. Let's dive in. Now for doodling theme number 1, I would like us to look at very simple shapes and lines. When we're getting starting with doodling, there's no point in choosing something complicated or that you'll need to go and find a reference for to draw. We want the simplest, easiest, most accessible thing to draw. So let's grab a sketchbook and I'll show you what I mean. So simple shapes, patterns and lines are the best starting point for doodling. This can be as simple as just drawing little circles. Simply drawing little circles across your page. Big, small, whatever size you want can be really relaxing. I also quite like just drawing basic lines, like in this sketchbook here. I've just used a brush pen and done rows and rows of little lines, just trying to get every line just slightly different. I found this really, really relaxing. Sometimes I'll set myself up a little structure, so I might draw a bunch of circles across the page, and then within these circles draw some different patterns and shapes. But just simply drawing something that is a line, a shape across your page, even just a squiggly little line that builds and grows, is absolutely perfect. So have a go at drawing just some simple circles, lines, squiggles, any kind of basic shape that doesn't require you to think too much, but is something you can do just for a couple of minutes without worrying about the end result. Now for doodling theme number 2, I'd like you to have a little look at flowers and leaves as a doodling theme. And this again is a really simple theme that you can access without the need of a reference. So let me show you my sketchbooks and I'll show you what I mean. Hello and welcome into my sketchbooks here. I'm just going to show you some of my flower and leaf-based doodles that I've made in the past in these small sketchbooks. And all of these are ones that I've done either in little bursts or maybe a single sitting, because these sketches aren't big. This one here is just squiggly lines with some leaf or berry shaped things coming out of them. We've got some very simple flower shapes. We've got another page over here which is flower-like shapes again, little blobs across the page. This one is more like vine leaves hanging down, coming up. And then I've gone over these just with a felt tip pen, like it's nothing complicated. I'm not colouring in, I'm not illustrating anything. I'm just doodling shapes, again like here. I'm just doodling a simple leaf form. These are made up doodles. I might do 2 or 3 of these, close the sketchbook, come back to it another time. So just sort of maybe even think of a sort of simple flower, you know, something like this, and then do another one and just let it grow across your page. Whatever petal, flower, leaf shape form comes into your mind, just do a little bit of doodling. Do it for a couple of minutes. You might come back to it another time, or that might be it. You might close your sketchbook and you feel lovely and relaxed. Now we're on to doodling theme number 3. Now I love to draw little houses, little villages, lots of little houses in a row. I personally find this something really interesting. It's something I can play with, but it has a certain structure. So let me open my sketchbook pages and show you what I mean. So welcome into my sketchbooks and welcome to these little mini villages or little doodle houses that I absolutely love to draw. And this is something I come back to time and time again because it's just something I like to play with. What I like to do is play with a basic shape. So the front of the house, it could be a rectangle, then I create a roof shape, and then I play with the window arrangements, the pattern on the roof. I sometimes will also play with the arrangement of the houses on the page. So here I've drawn 3 wavy lines, and then I've lined my houses up, and I just keep going. So sometimes these are groups of houses like here, sometimes follows a curve down the page, and occasionally, but not very often, I'll add a bit of colour to this. Normally by the time I've done a black and white sketch, I've kind of switched off and I want to do something else. So sometimes I add colour. I'm just playing and enjoying. So maybe this is something you could try doodling as well. Now for doodling theme number 4, I'm going to return to the organic. I love to do sketchbook doodles that build upon organic shapes, and these might be all sorts of flowing shapes that sort of build from a central point off of one side of the page and grow across the page. This is really mindful and can be done in just a few moments, or you can take a lot longer if you really get into it. It's still a wonderful doodling theme, and let me show you what I mean. And an organic shape is basically a flowing design that is vaguely organic in its form. This one here and this one here are 2 of these sort of organic shape doodles that I like to do, and they're ones that organically grow across the page as well. So something like this one here on the left, and if I imagine this is the corner of my page here, I would draw this organic outline like this, and this almost looks like some kind of, I don't know, sea creature or sponge. And then from a central point, I draw lines out from that central point to create that form. And then what I would do is, once I've finished this bottom one, I move on to the next, and then they grow across the page. With this one here, for example, and this one I do, every now and again, it's quite a nice one, I would draw this basic shape as a starting point, and then I would draw the individual lines that follow the curves. This is not something I would do necessarily in one sitting. I might do 2 or 3 little sections of it and come back to it another day, just gradually growing the organic shape across the page. So these sort of organic shapes are just 2 examples, and there's plenty more where you can just let your pen free flow based upon some sort of organic line or shape with no particular intention in mind. Just doodle away and let those shapes grow. And for my final favourite doodling theme, I am going to pick fish. Now I know this might sound a little bit odd, but I love sketching fish, and this partly comes from the fact that when I was at school, our art room used to have fish tanks that surrounded the room. So in my brain, art is associated with fish. I know it's strange. I also own fish and I quite like fish, and I love going to an aquarium. So what I would highly suggest is, when you're doodling, choosing something that inspires you personally. So for me, this is fish. Let me show you my sketchbooks and I'll show you how I doodle this. Okay, so here are some of my sketchbook pages showing doodles of fish, and these very often appear in different formats in my sketchbook. Here you can see I've done some doodles and then come back to the pages later on to add a little bit of watercolour to just add some colour and have some fun. In this particular sketchbook page, I've actually doodled in pencil and then just gone over with a brush pen. But these are the types of sketches that I tend to do the most: simple, fine liner pen outlines. And then very often I go back and just add patterns. So I doodle shapes, patterns. They're often very cartoony. And here, and you can see another page here. So I do this one quite a lot. So I will normally draw the body of the fish first, and from that basic shape, I would then add another one on the page and just change the shapes up. And then I would add on the detail. So I'd then just come in and play and just doodle with the other shapes, the patterns, and just kind of just get lost in the doodling. And sometimes, just like with these ones here, I keep the shapes ridiculously simple. Just this kind of teardrop shape, add on very simple tail, and job is done. And I can just, I don't overthink. I just doodle the shapes. Another day I'll come back and doodle the patterns, and it builds from there. But I really love this one. I find this a super relaxing doodling exercise. And finally, don't take doodling too seriously. Have fun with it, whether you sketch the themes that I've suggested in this video or you pick your own. Pick themes that make you relax or even giggle, such as funny little faces. Anything goes with doodling. Now, I would love to hear what you love to doodle, so do pop a comment below this video so I can find out what you're doodling at the moment. And if you would like an example of another fun sketching and doodling theme, do have a look at my video, Sketchbook Stories, episode number 16, which is all about doodling little forests. So just taking it that little bit further and taking your doodling to another level. Have fun with your sketching, and I'll see you soon.